Thank you for being so. I never worry about that.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Sarah Carlson and I serve on the Sunday Services Committee. And I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors that are here with us this morning. If you'd like more information about the fellowship, please visit the welcome table out in the fireside room or sign our virtual guest book at the uufames.org/guestbook website. And whether you're joining us from home or here in the fellowship hall, we invite you to stay after the service where you can introduce yourself and join in conversation with kindred spirits. Couple announcements for this morning. There is a lost and found table out in the fireside room. So please check it out and claim your lost treasures. And I ask if you would stay after the service today and grab a piece of cake and give your well wishes to Gabby and Riley, and then find your way back here into the fellowship hall for our music roundtable. We'll discuss your likes and hopes for music programs, and we'll talk about opportunities that the future may hold for us in music. So on behalf of this caring and nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you into this sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for joining us.
Our opening words this morning are from Betts Weinecke, and our chalice lighting is from Pat Urib Lichty. As we gather this morning, may we learn to recognize and affirm the pieces of possibility, the bits of good that we bring. May we encourage rather than control, love rather than possess, enable rather than envy, allowing our individual gifts to weave a patchwork of peace, the soft, deep blue sensitivity and understanding, the red energy of creativity, the white heat of convictions, the fragile, risky green of new growth, the golden flashes of gratitude, and the warm rose of love. Each of us is indispensable if we are to minister to a broken and wounded world. Together, in our gathered diversity, we form the whole, and so be it. The chalice we light today is a symbol of our faith. It binds us together as a people, a reminder that our strength is in our shared hope for this world, and that our common work is the creation of this beloved community. Will you rise now in body or spirit for hymn number 36, When in Our Music? It's a new hymn, and Mary will play it through fully one time. Sam Osei will now encourage us with a few words.
So, even in our community that encourages gratitude at every possible opportunity, there are still those who deserve more recognition. Gabby Cassini and Riley Matthews, who aren't allowed to sneak out, came to the UUFA as part-time student childcare helpers back before COVID hit. They stayed as part of the team as we struggled to keep RE going virtually and then RE off-site at the park. As time went on and the circumstances changed, their responsibilities have expanded far beyond their original job descriptions, and they have gracefully risen to the challenge every time. These days, they're leading our RE program. They're preparing classrooms and materials for our volunteer teachers. They're managing the nursery. They're training new childcare staff. They're leading and growing the youth group. They're coordinating volunteer schedules and welcoming new RE families. They're planning curricula for next year and beyond. Recruiting, planning and leading special RE activities, working with the library committee to improve the content and the accessibility of our children's books. Heck, they're occasionally even hosting meals for Family Fellowship Night. So, as you may have heard, Gabby is leaving us shortly, moving on to her next adventure after Iowa State. Riley will be with us for another year, adding her energy and experience as we welcome our new religious educator next fall. Our RE program owes a debt of gratitude to these exceptional young women.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, you probably do now. My name is Gabby. I'm the nursery lead and one of the youth group directors here at the Fellowship. I've been working at the Fellowship since 2019, when I was just a little baby freshman in college. Now it's 2023 and I'm graduating this week. Unfortunately, that also means that I'm moving to the state of Florida in the upcoming weeks to work for the Walt Disney World Company as a conservation education presenter. So this fellowship has been this fellowship has been so amazing to work for the last 4 years. Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights were truly something that I look forward to every single week. The fellowship created community for me here at Ames, and I truly appreciate all of your kind words and advice that I've been given throughout the years by all of you. And of course, watching the kids grow and flourish has brought me so much joy. Some of the kids here, like Clara, I've known since they were a toddler in the nursery. Others I've gotten to know more recently, and all of them have been so wonderful to be around. I wanted to extend a special thanks to the RE committee, Reverend AJ, Riley, Ava, and Caitlin. I've never expected to be running the nursery and making curriculum, but these people have made the transition into a leadership role so much easier. I'm gonna miss the fellowship so much. I'll always remember finding geocaches during RE at the park, the Zoom RE education that was very interesting, debate night at youth group, seeing an owl with the kids on a Sunday morning, and playing board games on Wednesday nights, and giving Riley really silly books to read during time for all ages. Now, I hope I didn't make you all too sad because this is just my formal goodbye. I'll actually be back to teach the large group RE on May 28th. So I'm not leaving for good. I'm leaving for a couple weeks, but then I'm leaving for good. So thank you all, and I'll let Riley say something.
Hello, everyone. Again, if you don't know me, I'm Riley. I'm the RE helper and one of the youth group directors, and I'm also the one who's always reading the books up here. So you guys have probably seen me a lot in some of my most embarrassing moments. This is not going to be as sappy for sure. This is my last day, and then I'll be gone for the entire summer after this. But I am coming back next year because I still have to graduate. So I will be back, but I'll be in Minneapolis this summer working as a process engineer for a petroleum refinery. So far cry from childcare. But Gabby and I did start in 2019 when we first came here as freshmen. Back then, Gabby and I had to walk to the fellowship because we didn't have cars. So we'd walk from our dorm room, usually at night, always to the fellowship. And Gabby and I started definitely from the beginning, and I'm really gonna miss working with her for sure because Gabby and I have definitely been a dynamic duo for a long time. I've definitely loved getting to watch all the kids grow. This is gonna kind of be a little bit of a repeat of exactly what Gabby said, but I think my favorite things have definitely been getting doing crafts, going outside for walks, or having fun murder mystery nights with the youth group. That's definitely been one of my favorite things from this year, is getting to really get to know all the middle schoolers and high schoolers after we kind of took over the youth group, and that has been a really, really fun experience for us. A little challenging sometimes, but very fun for sure. I definitely want to thank everyone here, specifically Gabby. I cannot lesson plan, so Gabby has lesson planned absolutely everything, and I just sit there for moral support, and so I don't know what I'm going to do without her next year for sure. But I have loved working with Gabby for all these 4 years, and we consistently text each other all the time about things here at the fellowship, so I'm really going to miss her. I also want to extend a thanks to Caitlin and Ava, who are in the nursery right now, but they came on this year, and they've been super helpful and kind of do all the ridiculous things that Gabby and I are like, I don't know, just figure it out. And so they're always here kind of ready to roll with the punches. I'd also like to thank the RE committee for their constant support, AJ, and I'd also like to send a thank to the library committee and Roger and Kay Berger for letting us kind of go through all the children's books in the library and redo the entire system. I know Gabby and I really were kind of working along being like, we think we're gonna do this. And so it was a long couple month process, but we really had a great time, and we're super happy with everything as it is now and with all the new categories and all the new books. Yeah, my thanks can be a lot shorter, but I'm really excited to come back in the fall, and thank you everyone for really being such a supportive community and really supporting Gabby and I through all this work, and trying to kind of figure out this new thing of running all the RE stuff, because we definitely were like, we don't know what we're doing, but we really appreciate everything so much, so thank you.
On behalf of the fellowship, I would like to offer a blessing to Gabby and Riley, and this is from Hope Johnson. Listen, light the way, lend a hand, make decisions, commit, take risks, fall forward, build community, nurture meaningful relationships, be real, give thanks, invest in someone or something that you believe in, live, love, dream big, be transformed, change the world and lead, keep your dreams alive, and the people say, amen. Thank you so much. Take care. Will you join me now in a time of prayer and meditation? And our prayer this morning comes from Reverend Lynn Cox. Creative Spirit, source of life and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day and the company of those assembled here. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing our heads and bringing us fresh ideas. May they cleanse our minds of the oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for this flame of hope, this heat of righteous anger, this warmth of compassion and the fire of commitment. May they bubble in the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for the oceans of love, the rivers of connection, the tears of relief, and the pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in this morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us, and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these and more. We accept our gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them all to life, to abundant life. So may it be, and amen.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connections, a spiritual community where we find meaning. This is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. It's a tradition in our community to take a moment to share our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. It's a time of sharing and not a time of announcements. If you would like, you can come to the microphone over here, state your name, and tell us your milestone, and I will light a candle for you. Not hearing any further milestones, I light this last candle for those milestones that were spoken, for those who were named, and for those milestones that we keep within our hearts that are too precious to share out loud. Let's have a moment of silence.
Will you join now in a responsive reading from John B. Wolfe? There is only one reason for joining a Unitarian Universalist fellowship, and that is to support it. We want to support it because it stands against superstition and fear. We want to support it because this church points to what is noblest and best in human life. We want to support it because it is open to women and men of whatever religion, race, creed, color, place of origin, political affiliation, gender identity, or sexual orientation. We want to support it because religion is for joy, comfort, gratitude, and love. We want to support it because it is a place where walls between people are torn down rather than built up. We want to support it because it is more concerned with human beings than with dogmas. We want to support it because it searches for the holy rather than dwelling upon the depraved. We want to support it because it calls no one sinner, yet knows how deep is the struggle in each person's breast and how great is the hunger for what is good. We want to support it because it calls us to worship what is truly worthy of our sacrifice. There is only one reason for joining a Unitarian Universalist fellowship: to support it. And once again, the people say, Amen. Cindy.
We have the great pleasure of welcoming new members into our religious community, and they are sitting in the second row here. So if they would please come up and stand behind me. And as I read your name, if you would come forward, please, and sign our membership book. Jan Addy. Norton Addy. Laura Maded. Omid Brett Madad. Lila Brandenberry. And Joe Smith.
Covenant is an important part of our free faith, and we now ask our new members to begin by reciting their portion of the covenant. and then the congregation will respond. We welcome you as once we were welcomed ourselves. We seek to be open and inclusive, respecting your inherent dignity, your ideas and your vision, in times when it is easy and in times when it is difficult. We seek to be supportive, not only
when you reach out
to us,
to us.
to reach out to you. In return, to recognize we will not always live up to our ideals. And when we fall short, we invite you to stay in relationship with us and help us more fully bring alive the spirit of love. We welcome you as an equal member of this congregation, of this faith, and of our shared spiritual journey. Please welcome our new members. You may be seated.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We will now give and receive the offering. Please know that this morning, half of the non-pledge offering is going to be donated to the Iowa Arboretum Treehouse Village Project. The Arboretum strives to be an inspiring educational and recreational resource demonstrating the value and use of trees, shrubs, and other plants in the Iowa landscape. Their Treehouse Village project will include accessible play areas, suspension bridges, viewing platforms, and other enhancements aimed at engaging families of all ages and abilities. The other half of our offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make us a community of transformation. We'll pass the basket in Fellowship Hall, and for those at home, you can visit uufames.org/give to make your contribution today. And if you're visiting today, please know that your presence is gift enough. As we pass the baskets, our women in the round have some special music.
And before we sing, I'd like to introduce you to a lovely gift given by a friend of mine. It's made of driftwood by the Styx Group in Des Moines. Many of you know what Styx artwork is like. And we're going to sing the song, She Flies On. She represents the spirit of life. And I just, when I received her and we were practicing, I thought she must be on the chalice table when we sing this.
Her wings flashing across
Thank you, women in the round. My name is Reverend A.J. Galazin. I'm your interim minister, and my pronouns are he and his. For the past few weeks, there was one of those flashing signs here on our block of Highland Avenue that said, "Your speed is." And if that wasn't enough, if you were going more than 10 miles above the speed limit, red and blue lights started flashing in mimicry of what would happen if a traffic officer was president and pulled you over. In nature, things don't eat bugs that even look poisonous, right? And for a while, it seemed to work. People took the sign seriously and heeded its warnings. But during the second week, I noticed that fewer people slowed down. Maybe they wanted to see the red and blue flashes. Colored lights can hypnotize. And art is like that. It grabs our attention. It asks us to question, to form an opinion, make a response, and find ourselves in the work. Our theme for May is creativity. And we begin this month by celebrating Art Sunday. And I didn't have to dig very deep to find many rich veins of creativity in this fellowship. For our service today, I've asked several people to briefly share something about how their artistic adventures add to the vibrant atmosphere of this beloved community. Art is not just bright, shiny objects, not just visual media. It includes the written and spoken word, movement and dance, fabric, texture, sculpture, horticulture, scented plants, landscape design, and for me, conceptual art. Art that is never realized physically, but expressed in languages of science and mathematics. And I apologize if your favorite mode of creation escaped my list. I truly believe the possibilities are endless. Did I forget to mention that music is an art form? Music is certainly one of those topics that everyone can be counted on to have a personal opinion. Please join us after this service for a conversation on the music program here at this fellowship. Do we choose our music, or does our music choose us? You decide. Here I will invoke Paul Simon. Slow down, you move too fast. You've got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Meditating on all the traffic whizzing by on Highland Avenue, I thought about erecting my own sign that said, "Slow down, you move too fast." Religion is not a race to the finish. Create your own spiritual path here. The life you save may be your own. And church can be fun. This congregation cannot rely on doing everything the same way that it always has. We are blessed that each new member brings their own style of creativity to this mix. And together we weave a wondrous, and some may even say beautiful, web of community. Today we celebrate some of these strands that make this place interesting, colorful, and inviting. May it be so, and amen. Dennis, it's all yours.
I started coming to the fellowship in 1971. Actually, it wasn't this fellowship, meaning this building, it was only the fireside room out here. and it was a bare concrete block. I felt a little, I told my wife the first time when I came by myself, I said, I felt like I was going to a prison cell. But it was an interesting programs, and I kept coming back for the interesting programs. And I just had a real revelation sitting here listening to the program earlier that I hadn't even got in my notes here. And I've got way too many notes as it is. For the last 40 plus years, I've been involved in the art program here, the Art Exhibition Committee, as it's now called. And we call our program Gallery in the Round. And we're part of the Ames Community Arts Council, so we have a real presence in the community of Ames. But when I came here, it was pretty bare. In fact, one of the big controversies I remember in the first few years I was here, and it probably was the reason I didn't sign the book until I think 85 or 86, was one of the big controversies. Could we get enough money together to take this new building and put a nice colorful rug down to warm up the fireside room? And that was a big controversy, as I recalled. But finally, somebody came up with the funds, I don't know where, and it was put down, and we've had carpeting in there ever since. But it was a pretty bare existence until the early 80s. So I had been here about 10 years. And one day after one of these services, somebody came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder. I took to be somebody from the fellowship board. And they said, you know, Barney Cook, who I knew, because he and his wife, Laura, had both purchased some of my work. So I knew they were supporters of the arts and they liked my work, which makes you real fond about them anyway. But anyway, he had given a chunk of money. I was never told how much, but it was enough to purchase an enhanced insurance policy so that we could have the work here and have it properly covered in case of loss or damage or anything like that. And also a little bit to add some equipment for hanging work. Now, this was right when I was going through tenure at the university, and I was really nervous about whether I would be here the next year or two. And yet, when I heard Barney had done that, and Barney had been up to as part of this, he had come up to my studio and has picked a work called First Thoughts, which hangs clear still over the stairwell when you go down to the lower level. And he also purchased one of my favorite painters on the faculty, Bill Zimmerman, who used to come here. And so I had all that going for me but when we first started, all we had, I'm almost at the end of my time, I think. And I'm only a third of the way down my notes here. Anyway, all we had in the beginning.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, sir.
I want to read anyway, we've grown a great deal. We've had continuous shows for 40 years now, except for during the pandemic, which was really hard. And I want to read just a couple sentences that tell the mission statement of the Art Exhibition Committee, because I think it tells a lot about what I've learned from all the artists who've been here. The goal of the Art Exhibition Committee is to exhibit spiritually enriching artwork that supports the creative process in us all. The art exhibition area of the Fellowship Building, known as Gallery in the Round, has a dual role. One, as community-based professional art gallery associated with Ames Community Arts Council, and two, as a continuing aesthetic and artistic enrichment to the practice of ethical and spiritual principles of Unitarian Universalist Association. And to further that idea, I've invited one of my favorite people and the longest member of the exhibition committee to tell about what it's like to serve on the committee in a couple of minutes. And these are some of Bob's things. If you get to know Bob, you get things from Bob's retirement hut and scriptorium, which are all kinds of postcards. I've been trying for years to get him to exhibit these things here because I think he's so creative and such a Renaissance man. But if you listen to his 8-track tape show on KHOI, and you will find, so anyway.
Get going here, come on.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'm Bob Andrews. I'm a member of the committee. I started on this art committee in around 2011. The committee, at this point, Dennis, Bob, Stu Huntington, Mike Frankham, Susan Norris, our newest member, Rilla Fox, Mary Brooks, and Roberta Van. Now, I have to tell you, we need new members. No offense to any of these people, but we are ready to move to a new generation. So please think about that. Dennis read the mission statement. Here is what the committee does. The committee is responsible for selection, advertisement, preparation, installation, hosting, and removal of all exhibits at the UUFA. The content of each exhibit is at the discretion of the committee using the common principles of the UUFA and the stated goals and policies of the UUFA. Committee supports and encourages freedom of expression in all its activities, issues of diversity, individuality, complexity, artistic quality, and the presentation of ideas and issues are considered in the selection of the exhibition programs. So we're just not a bunch of bums that hang out and drink coffee. We take this very seriously, and I think the exhibits over the years have shown that. Thank you.
When I find myself in a gallery, and I love galleries, but when talking with others, I occasionally will hear a comment such as, I wish I had some artistic talent, but I can't even draw a decent stick figure. But when I hear confessions like that, I'm thinking, yes, you really can be artistic, you can be creative. But for now, I'd like us to focus for a moment on a very much more broad view of art and creativity. Artists create art, but art creates experiences. However, it is other individuals entirely that are doing the experiencing. Every person who has any kind of sensory, cognitive, or visceral reaction to art is creating their own experience. For example, I'd like to talk about, these are my paintings back here. And one of them in particular I'd like to talk about. It's one that's red maple leaves, there it is. And that hangs in my bedroom. And I did this several years ago, and I see different things in it at different times, but there's one thing in particular that I really like to focus on every day. But, you know, for somebody new to it, they might see something completely different than what I'm seeing. They might see the flow of the leaves from the upper right to the lower left. Other people might not think about the painting so much, but remember a childhood experience of wading through leaves on the sidewalk in the fall, or just the smell of autumn. When I was in grad school here at Iowa State, I learned that teachers create the conditions within which learning can occur, but it is the students that are constructing their own learning and understanding from those experiences. Everyone is creative, each in their own unique way. Wrapping up, first of all, I'd like to encourage anybody who doesn't think that they have artistic talent to try something and try it again. Try something different. Don't worry about too much what it looks like. You'll be putting your mind in a different kind of creative flow by doing this activity. Recognize your own intrinsic creativity. Have fun, be childlike. And recognize your creativity as you experience the work of others, as well as when you observe everything aesthetic in the world all around you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Susan Norris, and I love show and tell. So Sarah's holding up a board that shows examples of some artwork that I've made, and actually one piece by our member Ria Keinert, that's this one down here, made at a workshop I taught at the Octagon. I try to live an artful life in the way that I dress myself, in the way that I decorate my living space, in the way that I prepare a meal. I can't help it. I want to share a bit of an alarming quote by an assemblage artist named Louise Nevelson. She said, "I make collages. I join the shattered world, creating a new harmony. A discarded object, a scrap of paper, a rusty bit of metal, a torn piece of cloth, the odd button, all were once part of something that served a useful purpose. Gathering and sorting such things is part of my process for creating assemblages. My art is scrappy, thrifty, and resourceful because I try not to spend money on supplies, except at thrift stores. And it's fun to try to join things together with no tape and no glue. Making assemblages is a way for me to connect, overlap, and layer heretofore unrelated things, bringing them together in new ways. Kind of my wish for humanity and our world."
Good morning, I'm Ronnie Kahn, and as most of you know, I'm a quilter. I started quilting nearly 50 years ago. At the time, it was just something for me to do to keep busy. I had no idea back then how it would take over and enrich my life. My first experience was from quilting was from a kit. I was sewing at home alone until I was invited to join a group that met every week. Those women were so warm and friendly and taught me so much. That's when I learned about the world of quilting and connecting with others who shared my interest. More about that later. My working career was as a psychologist. As many of you know, working in the helping professions has nebulous and sometimes no rewards. Many therapists have creative hobbies that have tangible and controllable results. Engaging in these hobbies at the end of a long day of working with people who may be afraid of change is so helpful. It provides balance and prevents burnout. It also is a way I can express my feelings in a positive way. No matter how frustrated I feel at the end of a long day of work and dealing with insurance companies, putting pieces of fabric together is very soothing, and I come out so much more relaxed. I've made many good friends over the years with quilters through groups I have joined, as well as people I have taught to quilt and infected with the quilt pox. And with people who are crafters of other sorts who understand how crafting can take over your life, your home, and your bank account. Unlike Susan, I spend money. There are other ways to connect with people through quilting and other arts and crafts. When I'm working on a quilt, I feel connected to all the people who have quilted before me. I have benefited from their designs and techniques and am able to use their ideas to create my own. I am grateful to all those, mostly women, who have laid the foundations that I use for my own style. I almost feel their presence when I'm quilting. And there are also friends that I have today who teach me techniques and that spark my own creativity. The most rewarding type of connection for me has been making quilts for others. Someone will ask me for a quilt without any certain idea. I get to know the person a little and make a one-of-a-kind quilt just for them. When I see the delight in their eyes when they receive the quilt, or when I hear them talking about it or sharing it with others, it warms my soul. So connection with others has been at the heart of my quilts these past 50 years. At this stage of my life, however, making quilts provides another unexpected benefit. I am exercising my brain nearly every day, as well as exercising various parts of my body, keeping everything working and nimble. I'm very grateful for that and truly believe that it keeps me feeling and looking young, even in my mid-70s.
Well, I'm Stephanie Fox, and at the end of a group I participated in a while back, someone looked at me and said, "Gee, Stephanie, you surprised me. I thought you were a boring finance person." Well, I am here to give my testimony that if creativity can save a boring CPA, anything is possible for the rest of you. So think about it. Really, creativity is simply personal expression. Just like Rex and others have said, something we all do every day in our own ways. Now, one of my favorite concepts that I've applied to creativity is thinking more about the process than the product. What is it that inspires you? Is it maybe the beauty of nature? Is it maybe something that happens that jars a memory from your past that you want to express? Or maybe it's just emotion. And remember, emotion can be joy, it can be sorrow, it can be outrage. There's a lot of emotion that a lot of us want to express out there. And when you focus on that process, the product became just more serendipitous. You don't worry about perfection. Your product is simply the voice that you gave to your inspiration. Much simpler than having to create something perfect. Now, the spectrum of emotion is one of the more intriguing aspects of our Creativity Matters group that's here at the fellowship. You know, it seems like every month we have at least one drop your mic moment where someone says something deeply personal or shares a really profound metaphor that people just sit there and go, whoa, and we think about it for a minute. And then a minute later, somebody else will be saying something silly, showing some funny cartoon, and we think we need to close the door because we're laughing so much that we're going to disturb the ukulele group. And like Soul Matters, Creativity Matters uses the monthly theme that's the basis for our Sunday services. Now, one of my favorites was from a few months ago, when you might remember the theme was vulnerability. We started off with a quote from Brené Brown, an author who literally wrote a book on vulnerability. She said, "There is no creativity without vulnerability. No creativity without vulnerability." Now, some people completely agreed with her. They said that having the courage to be fully vulnerable and open is what enabled their own personal expression. And the freedom that they sought. If they hadn't been willing to be vulnerable, the art and the words would not have come out. But then there were contrarians like myself. In my retirement, I have come full circle from wanting to create an Etsy site and a published author. And now I've kind of come all the way around, and now creativity is a playground. And how often do we get a chance to play? It's also just sort of a respite from vulnerability and judgment. So I urge everyone to look at creativity, not as something just to appreciate in others, but something inside of yourselves too. And to blatantly plagiarize and repurpose a phrase that we hear every week. I have to rephrase it almost every week because I don't think it got said this morning. May creativity inspire you to understand life in new ways.
Thanks to all our artists. Will you rise now in body or spirit for our closing hymn number 22, Dear Weaver of Our Lives Design, and Mary will play it through fully one verse. Our closing words are from Reverend Marta Valentin. The golden present is not like the proverbial egg that expects you to sit on it and wait. It is instead a scrumptious feast to be served when you call. Look around. It awaits a response from you. One that says, yes, I see you. Yes, I choose you. Yes. The golden present ever reaches for you and wonders if you'll come to unwrap its gifts. Go now in peace to love and to serve the world. And you're not done yet, because there's cake outside and then there's music conversation back in this hall in about 10 minutes or so. Take care. Thank you for keeping us on track.